And to there is a strong evidence to indicate that companies' efforts in skill development, livelihood space, and for the whole skill ecosystem has been impactful, replicable, and sustainable. For a country like India, which is demographically rich, massive scale of efforts required for strengthening the whole skill ecosystem. The contribution required from all the primary stakeholders like corporates are very essential. Here, in today's webinar, Transforming Skill Ecosystem with Industry CSR, we will discuss about current practices, challenges, models of intervention in skill development through CSR from the well-acquainted leaders of CSR sector. Today, we have with us Mr. Anupam, Chief Manager CSR JK Tyre, to moderate the session. Welcome, sir, and spearhead the discussion with our eminent speakers, Mrs. Ranu Kulshrestha, Head CSR Bridgestone India. Welcome, ma'am. And Mr. Ravi Naise, Vice President, Skill Development, Ambuja Cement Foundation. Welcome, sir. On behalf of Team RCPSDC, I extend a warm welcome to all the moderator, eminent speaker, and the participants from across different parts of the country who have joined this session. Now, without further ado, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Bajpai, who is a seasoned development professional, having around 20 years of experience of working with reputed corporates, governments, and NGOs. Presently, he is heading the CSR function in JK Tyre, and before that, he was associated with Ballarpur Industries Limited and Reliance Industries Limited. Mr. Bajpai is a graduate and postgraduate in forestry and natural resources. He has been engaged in social work from his college days. His journey as a development professional, which started while joining CAPART under Ministry of Rural Development in the year 2002. And moving ahead, he has worked extensively on water conservation, livelihood enhancement, and health-based issues. In leisure time, he loves traveling, listening to music, and playing table tennis. Before I hand over to Mr. Anupam Bajpai, may I request the audience to ask your questions in the Q&A tab, and it will be taken after all the speakers' presentations are complete. So without any further delay, I would like to welcome Mr. Anupam to moderate the session. Thank you. Sir, floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Wahid. I think thanks a lot for your very kind words, and actually all the things which you have spoken about me, perhaps I don't deserve, but definitely I take it. First of all, let me just welcome all the participants who have actually joined us. Let me welcome both the veterans of actually skill development domain, and also I must say the people who have worked for very longer time into the CSR sector and particularly in the skill development domain. So let me welcome Ms. Ranu Kulshrestha and Mr. Ravi Naise. And as I can see, the number of joinees that is increasing, by every take of minute. That's really a good sign. I think Mr. Wahid, you have done really a wonderful thing because,
Yes,
and this is what I must say, we have such a good people in the panel that all the people who have joined today, perhaps they will not be disappointed. Let me just assure this thing. But actually, before I go to my panelists, let me just, first of all, let me congratulate Rubber Chemical and Petrochemical Skill Development Council for organizing this webinar. Because in my opinion, the timing of this is really perfect. And the topic is very, very relevant, very contextual. And the overall topic, this transforming the skill ecosystem with the industry CSR, very, very important. But before I go to my panelists, let me share with the audience that recently I have come across a news article. The title was that it's time to end India's skill famine. It's a very bold statement, actually, when actually you are saying that we have to, overcome the famine of skill issues actually in the country, a country which is having more than 130 crore people. Let me just actually go a bit deeper to that, and then definitely we would like to listen that what our panelists say. First of all, that India is the 5th largest economy and fastest growing economies of the world. And from skill development perspective, I think there is so much scope, but still actually if this is the issue. Second one, if I just mention that India has one of the youngest population in the aging world, and the median age of India, if you'll see, it is around 28 and very precisely 28.2 years. While actually the other countries like China, US, they are at 37, Western Europe 45, Japan 49. Again, there are very plus point two in favor of India. Third one, actually, since 2018, we have actually come in such a, we are actually on such a curve, which is called as actually the working age population. That particular thing is actually, this is increasing. While the dependent population, that is actually decreasing. So that is again, very plus point in case of India. And fourth one, the demographic dividend, as we talked about. So I think in most of the countries, even Japan has seen this from 1960 to 2000. In around 40 years, they have seen a growth of around 10 to 15% of the overall growth. This is what actually the contribution of demographic dividend has been. But where the things are lacking, so something like, still if we see the formal skilled workforce contribute hardly 10% of the total workforce. And again, I would say that this 10% figure, that is a bit debatable. And this is what actually, while if we compare this with other countries like Japan, it is 80%. In South Korea, it is 96%. China, it is 28 to 30%. So this is what overall, but anyway, these are all the issues. But actually the government, they have also been very proactive, and the different initiatives have been taken up by them, like Skill India, PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana, Gramin Kaushal Yojana, Made in India initiative, and so on. But in spite of all these various attempts by the central and state governments, India being such a huge country with such a large population, there are a lot of challenges in every aspect, including skilling. And here actually we are with two very eminent professionals who have large experience in the skill development domain to discuss and understand many untouched dimensions of the skill ecosystem and what the role corporates may play in transforming this. So here, let me introduce first of all today's guest. So let me just read out that. First of all, I welcome Ms. Ranu Kulshresht, ma'am. She is the head CSR Bridgestone India Private Limited. Ms. Ranu Kulshresht is heading CSR function of Bridgestone India Limited in Pune, India. Vocal thought leader of CSR in India, Ms. Ranu is a highly regarded professional who has worked with Hindustan Power Projects Limited, Moser Bayer India Limited, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, UNDP, UNP, and the National Council of YMCAs of India, UNHCR. Ma'am, in case actually I read all your actually qualification and this all, perhaps I'll take the full day. But anyway, I'll try to read few of them only. During her professional career spanning over 25 years, Ms. Ranu Kulshresht has worked at various levels, right from the grassroots to advocacy and policy development at various ministries and industry bodies. She had successfully integrated CSR and employee volunteerism in the core business, and today her leadership is widely acclaimed for the stakeholder engagement through a process-driven program management. She has been an active volunteer, especially as a trainer for building capacity of small NGOs and institutions. She is also a co-founder of Dhanak of Humanity, an NGO run by volunteers that works on the issues of honor-based crimes and against forced marriages in India. She has been recognized at various platforms for her work, the latest being one of the most talented CSR professionals in the country and Swayam Siddha Award for Women Changemakers. Definitely, Ranu ma'am, we would be very keen to know that actually in Swayam Siddha Award, because this is what actually you are an accomplished woman. So what all actually you are doing for the women folks, we would be very much actually interested to know. So welcome Ranu ma'am in this webinar. And now let me also read about all the achievements and a brief introduction of our other panelist, Mr. Ravi Naise, who is Vice President, Skill Training, Ambuja Cement Foundation. Mr. Naise heads the Vocational Training Division of Ambuja Cement Foundation. He holds a BTech degree in Agricultural Engineering and has close to 3 decades of experience in field of development with various NGOs. Mr. Ravi started his career with an NGO way back in 1993, working as a technical consultant in lift, drip irrigation, and water conservation. He joined Ambuja Cement Foundation in 2001 at Chandrapur, Maharashtra, and presently heading the Vocational Training Division, covering 33 Skill and Entrepreneurship Development Institute, spread across 11 states in the country, responsible for team of more than 300, including core team, subject matter specialists, and facilitators through this skill training ACF.
Mr. Vajpayee, I think we are not able to hear you. Mr. Vajpayee.
Mr. Vajpayee, are we audible to you?
No, Mr. Vajpayee, you are not audible to us.
Mr. Vajpayee, I think there is some technical issues right now. So I think we are not audible to you because you are also not audible to us. Could you please check your mic is off somehow, please? Mr. Vajpayee, your mic is, yeah.
You're on mute.
Mr. Vajpayee, now could you hear us? Mr. Vajpayee, could you hear us?
They've lost your voice. Can you try to remove your headphones and try to talk? You're on mute, sir. Hello?
Yes, now I'm getting.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yes,
Am I
you're
audible?
audible now. Yes.
Yes, sir, you're
That's,
audible now.
that's really great.
So, sir,
Thank you.
when we stopped hearing you when you were introducing Mr. Nice in the mid, so you were talking about his association with Ambuja Cement Foundation, and please could you please tell us more about him, sir, in the introduction?
Yes. That's right. I'm really sorry for the audience as well. About this technical glitch. That Mr. Ravi, he started his career with an NGO way back in 1993, working as a technical consultant in lift, drip irrigation, and water conservation. He joined Ambuja Cement Foundation in 2001 at Chandrapur, Maharashtra, and presently heading the vocational training division, covering 33 skill and entrepreneurship development institutes spread over 11 states in the country. Responsible for a team of more than 300, including core team, subject matter specialists, and facilitators. Through this skill training, ACF has trained over 65,000 youth in 7 sectors through more than 30 different courses and provided placement to 74% trained youth. So with this, actually, first of all, I welcome to both the panelists. I think now I'm audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, very well. Thank you, sir.
So what I'll do, actually, this is a request to my panelists that actually what I'll do that we'll take it in a very participatory way. First, actually, I'll take a question with Ms. Ranu, and then actually I'll be going to Mr. Ravi. Is that all right to both the participants?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And meanwhile, let me also request all the participants actually who are actually connected with us through Zoom and through Facebook Live also. In case you are having any question, please actually keep sending those questions to us. We shall be taking them once actually our discussion is over. We shall definitely be taking. So this is one. Ranu ma'am, the very first question to you is, because we all have seen this COVID pandemic. This is something unprecedented. The way it has impacted, and it has impacted everybody. Not even a single person on this planet Earth can say that I was totally, not affected by this. So in wake of this COVID pandemic, because this skill development overall, I think the ecosystem that has also got, a lot of troubles. So how have you transformed yourself to continue skill development activities? You might be perhaps depending more over digital means or some other practices. So how actually you have done that and what all you have done to cope up with this situation. Ranu ma'am, over to you.
So I'll just focus on our skill development program strategy. Definitely, there was a disruption, and we also realized that this was not for a short period. Around April, it was clear that the schools were switching over to online classes, but we realized that it is going to be there. It is, and we need to have a long-term understanding of what we want to do. So with our partners, we discussed and we realized that, one, not all skill development programs can use digital platforms. So for those programs which had more of theory, we continued them on, and also the students who could afford that, because this particular digital divide was definitely is one of the factors that is impacting the learning levels all across the world, and in India as well. So is true for the skill development programs. So some of our programs which required more of hands-on training, like the heavy motor vehicle drivers training program, the women cab drivers training program, and health general assistant programs. These are programs which require more of hands-on experience. So those are the programs which we had to stall. But for most of the other programs, we developed a hybrid model where, yes, we used online platforms for various sessions. And then when situation was better, in smaller batches, wherein the number of students was very selective, we called them to the centers and gave them the training so that we also adhere to the COVID safety norms. So that's how we are managing, and most of our programs are now up and running. And in between also, a lot of value addition sessions through our volunteers were also given to most of our beneficiaries, because COVID safety was one of them, financial management was one of them. These are sessions you can take through online platforms.
Very, very, very true, Ranu ma'am, because I think for everybody, it was a difficult thing. It was a challenge actually how to actually complete our activities, which actually we have been doing since long. And it was, I think, in sudden one day, we had to change our whole strategy. Because Ranu ma'am, this question is so pertinent. So the same question I would like to ask to Mr. Ravi Naise also, that sir, how actually you have transformed yourself, or what the new things which you have initiated just to cope up this COVID challenge?
Yeah.
Ravi Naise.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Anupam. Yeah, like Mr. Anu has mentioned, it was really a great challenge for everyone, because suddenly we have to shift our course of action, and we have to also get into different kind of environment and ecosystem of actually teaching and learning methodologies. So when we come to know that our youths are interested to pursue their training, and they were desperate because he's staying for at home for a month or maybe more than that. So that time they realized that they should get into some kind of engagement. And since they were already enrolled in the institute, so we literally thought of getting them engaged through online, through video calls, WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and all those kind of social media platform we have used. And then we switch over to immediately to Zoom and this Google Meet kind of platform to get in touch with the students. But doing so, there were challenges like bandwidth, availability of the gadgets, then the network connection, and then operation of all this platform, because our trainers are also not very familiar with this, neither the trainees are also. And since our institutes are mostly located in the rural area, So they are little hesitant. Many of them are actually first time user of this kind of gadgets. So to take them through, to orient them, to make them aware. So I must salute to our team who are at the ground, and they actually went to the villages, contact them in person, through phone, through their friends, and try all best effort whatever we can do. And somehow we train them to use the gadget, to use the platform, and then we try to get connected with them. And actually this become a kind of a fun activity for everybody out there. And so we invited their parents also to get login. We invited their brother, sister, colleagues, friends, all of them. So whosoever can help them, whosoever can come on this platform, we all welcome them. And initially when we started with a session on basically the communication techniques, then behavior, then all these matters related with the life skills. So that was become an interesting topics for everyone. Simultaneously we invited many role models, youth icons, then our experienced trainees who were actually hit during this pandemic. They started sharing their experience. Everybody were interested to listen. So this engagement processes, we have worked on that a lot. And then gradually then we develop our system of a learning management system, LMS systems. So through that then we uploaded the content, then we train our facilitators, trainers, we built our internal resources so that the people can be trained over virtual platform. They can be given inputs whenever they need it. And then we also built a monitoring mechanism. So how they are getting engaged, are they attending the classes, whether they are referring to the content which we have shared with them, how much time they are spending. And in doing so, the important challenge we faced was basically the cost in accessing this virtual platform, that is the data. So then when our trainees came to us, so we offer them ki 50% of your this what do you say, recharge, data recharge will bear by the organization. So that again given a very good push for this all motive. So we immediately started reimbursement of the 50%, or then this all, because see this all recharge were started happening on the line. It was earlier thanks to the many mobile companies including Jio, who has reached to the most remote area with a very good bandwidth. And then we started recharging the mobile of this trainees, their parents, their uncles, their friends, whosoever come, because we invested in that. And that give us a trick. And many courses which were easily taught on the virtual platform, which has a more theoretical component, we started completing that. Then we invited the potential employer also. We hold them, we invited in on this platform. We organized the discussion of trainees and employer. We organized the virtual interviews. We organized sessions with the employer. So this employer and this trainee connect has also started establishing. And during this pandemic, believe me, the local employer were facing a lot of challenge in employment, because they wanted to start their enterprise or business somehow, and they were not getting manpower. So they came forward and they shared their openings with us clearly. If we have this much of opening, you can ask your students to come to us. We will give them all kind of safety safety measures. We protect them, don't worry about that. And they had an interaction with their parents as well, and which has promoted, so these people has joined. So during this pandemic also, last time our placement rate didn't drop, which we were expecting. So that didn't drop. We still able to maintain our 74%, 73% placement rate. And the salary band has been increased, because these employer are ready to pay more, which were earlier they were just bargaining with the minimum wage rate. Now they came forward and offering 10,000 rupees, 12,000 rupees, and happily this thing were happening. But I must say this is a positive side. There are some challenges, still challenges are there. There are lot many parameters, because we have many courses on this health. There's a health assistant, GDA, and hospitals has a huge requirement for this manpower. So parents were very reluctant to send their wards to the workplaces. Then that orientation still has a challenge for us, because no parents want their wards to go to the hospital in such a critical situation. But I think our team has enjoyed a lot. Still, we are evolving. Many out-of-box suggestions are coming. New initiatives are coming. But we are very, very confident about team, and we learn from the failures. So lot many initiatives been failed also. So we learn from that, and I must say my team at the ground are very open in sharing their failures, and which ultimately counted on the learnings. So this is what was happening, and still the things are going on. It is evolving. I must say that we are not come out with the ready-made solution. So every center has a different kind of approach, different kind of a solution. But they all are working with the enthusiasm, with the zeal that these youth should get trained and they should get employed.
Very right, Ravi sir. This is and this is the truth actually, because being part of the JK Tire, because we have also adopted few ITIs where we are imparting, our management is part of the management of those ITIs. It was really difficult. In case you have to train a fitter, and you have to tell that thing actually on the mobile, actually, when actually he's so just imagine actually how difficult it is for the actually learner. And of course, because for trainer also, it was something new. So this is what actually we have also observed. But actually the different points raised by Mr. Ravi sir and Ranu ma'am, they have been very, very right actually. But the commendable work which both of you have done in your respective location, that is also, I think that's really great. So Ranu ma'am, the second question to you is, I'm coming to a general thing, that overall, what are your views on the importance of skill development and need of skilling? That overall, why this thing is needed in this country? Ranu ma'am, over to you.
Anupam, I was reading an article just 2 days back that wherein in the Indian Express has reported that India as a country continues to be one of the highest shortages in skilled workforces. So it is, I think, the number 4th in the world which has shortages of skilled workforces. This is an irony in a country that on one hand, the companies in India are facing acute shortage of skilled manpower. And on the other hand, it also has millions of uneducated and educated unemployed people. In the same article, there was also an observation that out of 5 lakhs of final year graduates who they had surveyed, 54% were found to be unemployable. So I would interpret it as they have degrees, but they are not skilled. So this is the criticality of the issue. And I feel that if in case we really want to leverage the advantages of the demographic dividend that you were talking about, we really need to gear up our skill development initiatives, match them with the market requirement. Also, there is a lot of requirement for reskilling that has emerged after COVID. We realized, as we were just talking, that reskilling is required to adjust to the new circumstances that have emerged, and there would be advancements that would be required in next couple of years. So I think this is very critical. We can only leverage this demographic dividend that we have only if we build up the skills of the manpower that is available to us. We need to really take it up seriously, because it will impact on the economic situation of the country and our businesses. So yes, it is a serious issue.
Very right, ma'am, actually. And something actually, the point which you have raised about the reskilling, perhaps that is also, it is so critical. Definitely, we would like to know more actually about that in coming questions. Ravi sir, actually, I'm coming to you. And the second question to you is that you are also a veteran actually, with this skill development domain. So with your rich experience in the CSR division with many big organizations, what as per you are the existing models that are being picked up by the industries very expediently?
So The industry's skill development model. So I will just quote the example of our industry. Ambuja Cement, our parent organization. Whenever we have this regular maintenance drive, which lasts for months together, and it happens once in a year or so. So that time there is a huge requirement of manpower, and particularly specific skills manpower, right? So and that those manpowers, because this planning processes of manpower starts 6 months before that, before actually announcement of this breakdown or the maintenance breakdown. So in our case, this manpower requirement is there, proper skill set is required, but the surrounding area where our plant is located, surrounding villages, we have a huge pressure of employment on us. And that is true with most of the industry. Surrounding where youths are demanding, they are agitating, they are contacting through political pressure and try to build pressure on the company management to provide employment to the local people. At the same time, they didn't have skills, proper skills with them. So company could not employ them for very specific job they have. So in our case, what we did, so we started this skill training centers, and with requirement of skill set in plant, in our operations, right? So that time we were very susceptible about the existence of skill training institute, employment pressure, and the workforce need. Means these three dots has to be connected, and that has to be connected with a very positive frame of mind, because aspirations of the local youths should not be for to acquire all kind of a job. That may not be happen. So in doing so, we focus mainly on the quality of the skill training, the quality of the skills required in plant operation, and that's why we plan for a longer duration courses initially. Maybe year duration or a 2 years duration courses, and during that courses, then we built a infrastructure, training infrastructure, which can actually address to the skill set requirement of the plant. Whatever the machinery is available in the plant, we use the scrap material, scrap machinery, scrap equipment, which can be used for the training purposes. And this way we build our infrastructure and started training the youth. And whenever the opportunity comes into the plant, that time they were being provided employment in the plant, because that employment is also for a shorter duration. But at the same time, we have a team, a core team, which I was referring to. That core team consists of a placement person, and that person has a responsibility to explore the potential of placement in surrounding market for the skill set which we are actually producing through this institute. So that placement person, that youth who got trained, has got some on-the-job training in our plant itself, and then he become ready for employment anywhere. And believe me, the employment opportunities in the surrounding industries are more compared to us. And at times our plant itself is demanding, "Hume bacche do. Why are you giving people or the used to another industries?" Because we need them. So at the time of our requirement, we were saying you didn't have anybody. So that type of scenario started existing. At the same time, local youths were being engaged in plant whenever required. And if plant requirement is not there, so our people has facilitated the employment potential in the other area. So this model actually has changed our thought process in developing the local you can say human resources in surrounding villages. And then we started implementing this model to most of the plant wherever we have the operations. And then we have then partner with many like-minded corporates also, and with their support we establish skill centers for them also, and we are running this that way. I think our model has been evolved over the years, and it took, let me tell you, it took almost 6-7 years to evolve this model. So till 2000 we started this program in an institute mode in 2006, but our model, I think, was got ready by maybe 2015, or maybe it takes 8-9 years for us to actually come to a model. Then after 2006, we were having just 8-10 institutes. Then we took this leap jump, and now we have 33 institutes. This is
Very,
this is
very,
the
very,
common.
very right, Raviji. And this is what actually I would just like to add on, because what you have mentioned, these problems are actually, every corporate, in case you are into the manufacturing, then you are going to face it. And something actually you have actually draw some, you have found out a model actually out of that, and then you have implemented that one. That is really exceptional. I must actually compliment you and the whole team. So now actually, Ranu ma'am, next question to you, that how do you perceive this overall participation of corporates in skilling and developing ecosystem through different CSR interventions? Being a corporate lady, you can definitely put some light over that. Yeah.
See, since you're talking about CSR, the way I look at it, it's all about, understanding the issues of your stakeholders, addressing them, engaging with them. So to me, by investing in skill development, as a corporate, we not only equip the youth with the desired skills, we're also providing the industry with, skilled manpower, and thus definitely contributing to the economic growth of the country and the society. I also feel that being in the industry, we are also very strongly positioned to understand the entire business ecosystem. What are the market needs? What are the processes? What is the machinery requirement? We have our own experts also. So then that makes us best positioned to drive these trainings. And obviously then that leads to good and impactful skill development programs. I also feel that investing in skill development can be also considered from business case perspective. While the focus is on developing the skills of the youth, through a very well-designed skill development initiative, we can also strengthen the entire supply chain. For example, in our case, we intend to work with the rubber harvest technicians, then tire fitters, then the drivers, so the entire supply chain, and thus improving the efficiency at all levels, and have a vast availability of network of services also, because then you are spread wide across the facilities and services. And these two things would, to my understanding, would lead to a win-win situation for everyone, be it the youth who requires employability skills or employment, the industry that requires manpower, skilled manpower, and the customers who are looking for a good quality service. So to me, it makes a lot of sense for the corporates through their CSR interventions, if they can address these issues, which are very pertinent to all their stakeholders and would lead to the betterment for each one of them.
That's really perfect, ma'am. But actually, just taking cues from your answer, actually, I'm just putting one more question to you, and then I'll go to Ravi sir. So actually, would you please also share some examples of these, because you have mentioned about some impactful and scalable models, interventions from the industry. So how is it, redefining and changing the whole skill ecosystem?
So I would first take our current example. See, for Bridgestone, for example, the corporate philosophy of Bridgestone is serving society with superior quality, and that's so much integrated in our the way we look at business. It is highly internalized, and this means not only our products but also in everything and each thing that we do for everyone whose life we touch. And the tire fitters, for example, are very integral to our economy. And it is therefore, as Bridgestone, we consider that their services should be of superior quality. And that's the reason why when we wanted to initiate a skill development program, we felt tire fitters is a segment that requires our attention. We all know the lives that the tire fitters have in India. There is no formal training. They independently operate from mostly from the roadside shanties, no formal training. They do not have appropriate tools. They do not have an understanding of the new products that come to the market, and the entire setup that is required for mounting, demounting, etc. So that's where our own team of experts had started a pilot project initially, which where they trained and provided equipments to around 300 tire fitters across the country. And this program we used as a pilot, and we understood that coming from our employee volunteers who are technical experts, it has really made a lot of impact. Now to scale it up, we can't do it ourselves. So we tied up with RSDC, and we are aiming at training thousands of tire fitters. We feel that not only the training helps them to acquire the required skills, but the certification also gives them an edge over others. And we also provide them with toolkits that are required. So now fully equipped, their lives change. And when their lives change, the customers are getting better services. Also, there is a very important role, you would know it better, that the tire maintenance is very critical for road safety. So the ultimate impact on society is much, much huge. So I personally feel that increasing their efficiency to cater to, the needs of the automobile users, and in repairing and maintenance of the tires, we are able to not only provide a huge skilled manpower to this segment, but also addressing a very critical issue of road safety and efficiency of the road transport. So that's how we feel skilling can really be taken up as a route to not only doing social good, but also for a sustainable development.
Ranuji, that's very, very interesting, because the example which you have quoted and the way actually, the different ends which have been actually one after another, they have been taken up and actually they have been woven into a program. That's really remarkable. Mr. Vahid, I think you have a video also. Yeah, you were saying.
I'll just add to that. We have similar programs for other segments whose life we touch. For example, we have HMV drivers program. So the heavy motor vehicle drivers generally were never trained, and we have a very comprehensive residential training program where the drivers are certified to be able to drive buses and trucks and heavy commercial vehicles. So that's how we feel that we are positioned to deliver the know-how whenever it is aligned to what we are doing, what is our core business.
Right. And it's, ma'am, actually, it's also like scaling the operation. That is also
absolutely. The entire supply chain, the entire ecosystem then gets skilled, and efficiency would be in any case the result.
Right. Mr. Vahid, I think you have a video also on the same, so that can be showed, I think, perhaps just in next 5 minutes, and then I can go to Mr. Ravi.
Sure, sir. We'd show the video.
Lockdown due to corona pandemic derailed the life of common man in India. Sachin, a tire fitter, and his family at Kanpur were badly affected.
लॉकडाउन ने तो सभी को मार डाला है, पर गरीब आदमियों को बहुत ज़्यादा तरीके से मार डाला। लॉकडाउन की वजह से कोई काम धंधा इसका चलता नहीं है, और जिस वजह से ये नर्वस होकर घर में आता है।
The 3 months lockdown brought a change in Sachin's life after he attended a 2-day skill workshop, Tire Carewala. Sachin learned working with modern tools with social distancing and wearing a mask. He got certified too. Nowadays, Sachin's way of working is faster and more efficient, and he's very happy to be a skilled tire wala.
मुझे ट्रेनिंग मिली है और मॉडर्न टूल किट के जरिए जो डिफिकल्ट रिपेयर कार होते हैं, वर्क होते हैं, उस किट के जरिए मैं वो अच्छे से कर पा रहा हूँ और मेरी इनकम बढ़ रही है, जिससे मेरा परिवार भी खुशहाल है। अब मुझे अपने भविष्य की कोई चिंता नहीं।
Tire fitter's job role is an important one. A tire fitter not only repairs a tire, but also ensures road safety. Unfortunately, there was no structured training available to the unorganized sector of tire fitters so far. Based on the skill gap study conducted by Rubber Skill Development Council (RSDC), it was found out that majority of the tire-related problems on highways like overinflation, underinflation, cracking, bulging, misalignment, cuts, punctures, damages to tire are addressed by independent tire mechanics or tire fitters as they are called. They get the job done to their ability but lack proper skills and modern techniques to ensure job efficiency and road safety.
मैं प्रदीप कुमार श्रीवास्तव, मेरी नौबस्ता बाईपास पे 15 साल से शॉप है। पहले मैं उसको ट्यूब डालकर रफली तौर पे काम चला देता था, जिसकी वजह से मेरे कस्टमर मुझसे संतुष्ट नहीं होते थे। उन मॉडल टूल्स की वजह से आज मैं बेहतर तरीके से रिपेयर करना सीखा। आज मैं उसको बेहतर तरीके से कर लेता हूँ और मेरी इनकम बढ़ी, इससे मेरा परिवार खुश है।
To bridge this skill gap, RSDC has joined hands with Bridgestone India. Both have decided to come together for a unique social cause. They have jointly developed a 2-day training program for tire fitters and started training them at their own places under the skill training program Tire Care Wala, where many tire fitters have been trained just like Sachin in Kanpur. RSDC is implementing a CSR project of Bridgestone India in major cities and highways of 6 states: Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. The tire fitters are provided with an in-depth knowledge about the safety aspects, technicality of products, best practices and soft skills during the 2-day training program. The training would help them to improve their skills as well as income in the long run.
मेरा नाम संतोष कुमार है। मेरी नौबस्ता बाईपास में 20 साल से दुकान है। मुझे टायर फिटिंग की ट्रेनिंग दी गई है, आधुनिक ट्रेनिंग दी गई है। उसके द्वारा काम करने में मुझे बहुत आसानी मिल रही है, समय की काफ़ी बचत होती है और पैसे भी अच्छे मिलते हैं।
One of the biggest contributors to the Indian economy is the rubber sector. The rubber industry in India can be classified into 3 segments: rubber plantation, rubber manufacturing and tire services and maintenance segment. Rubber Skill Development Council (RSDC) is working under the guidance of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, which aims to meet the demand for skilled labor in the rubber sector by skilling, reskilling and upskilling millions of people engaged in the sector.
हम मोबिलाइजेशन में ट्रेनिंग्स को ये बताते हैं कि हाँ सर कि आप काम कर रहे हैं या एक्सपीरियंस आपको हमसे ज़्यादा है, लेकिन आप गवर्नमेंट द्वारा सर्टिफाइड नहीं हैं। हम उनको प्रोवाइड क्या क्या भी करते हैं, लाइक इंडक्शन किट देते हैं, टी शर्ट एंड कैप ब्रांडेड होता है। उसके बाद एक उनकी शॉप के लिए हम साइनेज भी देते हैं।
After associating with Bridgestone and innovative training imparted to tire fitters, the results have encouraged RSDC to invite other companies to collaborate with CSR initiatives and develop a path like Tire Care Wala to help individuals to get trained and certified in appropriate skills, leading to employment opportunities in collaborations with the industry, so that one day India can become the world capital for skills.
कौशल भारत, कुशल भारत।
Thank you, Mr. Wahid. I think that was really wonderful. Let me just put up this thing, and something actually what Ranuji, you were also emphasizing over, that the CSR activities and business sustainability, somehow they should go hand in hand. So I think that was a very perfect example and a very good example of the collaborative spirit as well, where actually Bridgestone, RSDC, and the people who were actually in need of that. So this is what actually the whole ecosystem has been, and this has been really a wonderful case study which has been shared. Ranu, do you want to say something on this?
No, I just feel that such collaborations are a must, because no matter how big corporates are, to the kind of scale that we require for meeting the need, as we've been emphasizing on the needs of our skill development. These PPP models and other collaborations are a must, so that all of us can pool in our expertise and resources.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So Raviji, the next question to you is that what, as per you, is the enriching experience of the industries regarding the execution of CSR projects in skill domain? That is one part of that. And secondly, I would also like to know that what is your viewpoint for the skill sector, government and like the sector skill councils? So for the smooth conduction of the CSR activities, how to strengthen this whole ecosystem? So this is what actually.
Yeah. Shall I come? Hello.
Yes, yes, please.
Yeah. I would like to actually answer second part first, and then I will come to first part of your question. See, government and whole ecosystem is actually working towards, and even the CSR, many funding agencies are also coming into the picture, and actually to actually strengthen this eco skills initiative, which has been promoted across the country. And rightly mentioned by you in the beginning that we have such a young country with the average age of 29, has a lot of potential. At the same time, we are our workforce in organized sector is very poor, in very poor state. So this actually boils down to the need of imparting skills. Mr. Ranu also mentioned in the Indian Express article that many graduates are not employable. They have a certificate, but they didn't have skill to actually get into the job or get into the workplaces. So my emphasis would be, industries are basically the benefit of all this skilling initiative actually go to the industry, because they will be becoming the human resources for the industries in developing their whole business. And the bonus we can say of that is that these rural youths are getting livelihood out of that. So these two important stakeholders are there. But in all the systems, what I feel, maybe I should be wrong in that, the industry partner has been, I'm not saying neglected, but their active participation, aggressive participation is very much required. Government initiatives, actually government is promoting many training partners. I would say training partner are required. Training partner is a means actually to achieve this goal. Training partners should work as a medium to achieve the goal of all the industries and the business people to have a skilled manpower at their workplaces. The youths should be motivated, should be trained. Our education system should be evolved in such a way that vocational education, skill training should become essential part of the education which they actually pursued up to 10th or up to 12th. Now with this new bill of education, this aspect has been included in schooling also. Up to 10th standard, skill training, vocational training became mandatory. But this has to be linked with industries. This has to be governed, drive by the industries, because what exactly industries required, it has to be addressed. You can see many ITs are having the infrastructure courses curriculum which was developed long year back, and many changes has been happened, and still they are not coping up and managing these changes in the syllabus. The technological changes happening so fast. At the same time, the curriculum are not getting updated according to that. Why this gap is there? And this gap has to be built, and industry people should play a very important and a crucial role in into that. The curriculum development processes has to be handed it over to the industries. Maybe that will be because see, many industries feel that the main motto of their business is to earn the business or to make the money. But I think nowadays important thing of any business is to be into the business, and if they wanted to be into the business, they have to build the ecosystem around that. They have to train, they have to encourage, aware, motivate all the ecosystems, rural youth, their parents, their surrounding, so that they should get into this kind of a vocational training. Today, you go and talk to any youth, his perception is that he want a white collar job. Why not blue collar job? Because blue collar job is earning, because at this tire wala, I am very sure tire wala is making 500 to 1000 rupees a day. Even his setup is totally unorganized. But for a white collar job, to earn a 1000 rupees a day means 30,000 rupees a month a salary, it takes a lot of time. He joins in a white collar job at mere just a 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 beginning salary is that way. But the white collar people, take the example of welder. He works in a very hard situation, but he earns 2,000 rupees a day, 3,000 rupees a day. So the earning and the potential of earning is very high, and they can make a very they can make a transformation in the businesses and in their lives as well. So I would also like to quote the example of heavy motor drivers, heavy vehicle drivers. They earn a lot, many means in terms of money they earn a lot, but aspiration to become a heavy driver is not there. Nobody wanted to be a driver. Nobody wanted to be a welder, nobody wanted to be a mason, nobody wanted to be a tire plumber. Why? Because those professions were being looked upon down, means in society they didn't have the respect. So I would say government is trying their all best efforts, that are trying hard to give the respect to this all professions. But at the same time, I think industry should also come up. They should also share their views. They should also bridge this gap of miscommunication, myths in the community. And they start valuing, they start respecting, they start honoring this profession, so that the person who is computer graduate or IT professional should equally stand along with the welder. So welders should also given the same kind of respect, reputation in the society and at the workplaces as well. So in many workplaces, you see the welder standing in their all team. They have been got accommodation or they got place in the back side, but the IT professionals sit in the front. Yeah, this has to be changed, and industry has to be play a very vital role into that. I must say the government should actually rely on government for training, for skill training, vocational training institute. Like Ambuja has built many vocational training institutes. Similarly, industry should come forward and they build their institute in their campus along with their supply chain, wherever possible. I think they should take the ownership of this skill training initiative, and they should be at the driving seat. Government and training provider will definitely come forward and they will definitely assist them. So this is my view on this. And I think education and in industries, the vocational training has to be given due recognition.
Very right, actually, Raviji. This is what actually you have mentioned, like hitting the nail at its head. Something which you mentioned about this mindset change. That is, sir, it is so crucial actually. And for this particularly, the persons who are being trained, not only they, rather the people who are actually surrounding them, the people like you and me. Definitely, we are in the development sector, so we may be called a bit more sensitized. But in general, the people have to be also sensitized that about the difference in blue collar and white collar thing. So this is very, I think very rightly you mentioned. Therefore, actually, I'm just taking the second question also with you only, Mr. Ravi. that about the sustainability of these interventions. Because what I have observed, initially when a person is joining, suppose he is joining a welder's course or he is joining some hospitality course or something, there is a lot of actually enthusiasm. He is also very happy. But after he joins actually and he sees that actually what are the challenges, what are the issues, then he somehow considers what actually he was doing at his village, that was actually better than actually what he is doing in Delhi or he is doing in Nagpur or in Hyderabad or any other place. So actually what you are doing, how you are sustaining your interventions, even after, I think once the placement is over, how actually you are sustaining those. So this actually definitely I would like to know. And I think not only me, rather actually all the participants, they would also be very eager to know that. Mr. Ravi, over.
Yeah, Mr. Anupam, we have a system of tracking of each and every trainee who got graduated from our institute. We track their performance at the workplaces for the 2 years. So we have various touch points after 2 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, and 24 months. So we do take their follow-up, understand their need, understand their challenges, and we motivate them as well as their peers, including parents and surrounding ecosystem around that youth, to actually be that person into the job. Similarly, we also try hard and work with the employer also, because their supervisor also need to be made sensitive towards the background of this particular youth, because he is first generation. Many of the youth are first generation learner. So these youths has to be treated well at the workplaces, because they came from the rural background. They never came across such kind of environment at workplaces. So their what you say, self-esteem has to be protected there. So in case they are not getting a good food, so they have to actually motivate what is a what is a nutrition food, what is a good food, so that input has to be given from the immediate supervisor. So for that purpose, we regularly get in touch with the supervisors. We organize their meetings just to orient at what are the needs of these youths initially. So once the youth attached with any workplace for maybe 6 months or so then he develop a taste of actually working at the workplaces. Once he develop that taste, then we don't have to worry, then he will retain in the job. Even if he left the particular company, he will join somewhere else, or he will start something on his own. So that is very much important. But these 6 months are very crucial for us. So during 6 months, if he drops out of that system or that workplace environment, he come back with a very negative mindset that I am not capable of working at that place. And he carry that negative sense or negative emotions that way with him, and then he transfer that negative emotions with his friends and with his colleagues, which are actually potential youth for our skill trade. So we have to be that's why the reskilling aspect is very important. The moment he come back, then we'll have to catch hold of him, train him again, reskill again. If he is not interested in a particular job role in which he got trained, which he come to know when he joined the workplaces, maybe means after training or after getting placed at that workplace for 2 months, then he come to know if this is not my cup of tea, then he come back. Then we'll have to actually work on the reskill, and this is, I think, very painful exercise even for us, because we invested something, we did a lot of efforts, and he come back with an empty hand saying this is not suitable for me. Then that time we should have a patience, and then that time we should again motivate him, again counsel him, and get back into the another job role of his liking. So that efforts we definitely has to do it, and it involves a lot of counseling. We have in our Ambuja Cement Foundation Institute, we have counselors for that. Then we hire some expert for that, who can actually do brainstorming with this youth when they come back. But in this whole journey, I'm not saying this is a perfect model and we are achieving 100% of our what you can say target achievement. Out of place candidate, 30% still dropped out, and they prefer to come back to their own place or the own where they belong. They again get back to same vicious cycle of underemployment, no employment, their parents, and they actually they have some kind of a fixed mindset. There are people who has a growth mindset. The people having a growth mindset, they go forward. This fixed mindset people, they actually has to be counseled a lot. They have to convince a lot, and this is, I think, a process which everybody has to be followed. And in doing so, there are some people who dropped out. So we will have to actually rely and project the people who got succeeded in their life, and those people are the role model in this all process of skill training.
Very true, very true. And actually something actually what you have enlightened us with this growth mindset and fixed mindset, that is also something really great. But meanwhile, let me ask Mr. Wahid, because it is already 4:12. So what should we do? Because, you know, we can take few questions as well. And one very important question I have with Ms. Ranu as well, which I want to ask. So how we should go ahead? Should we take 5 minutes more?
Yeah, sure, we can take the question, and then we can take the question from the audience as well.
Yes. That is all. Thank you. So Ranuji, actually, because that we are running short of time, it is just 3-4 minutes actually left with us. So actually, the very last question, because you are an accomplished woman in the corporate arena, have you taken up a few skill development interventions exclusively for the women folks, or for enhancing their participation in the skill-based programs? Because normally these type of blue collar jobs, they are considered as the domain of the men only. So actually, what is your viewpoint in that?
See, Anupam, as a professional or as a citizen, I would say, or as a woman, mainstreaming of women has always been a cross-cutting theme for me in any program that we do. So when it comes to skill development, so the focus immediately and very obviously it remains on increasing women's participation in not so conventional sectors as well, so that there is in real sense they are empowered and there is an increase in self-reliance. So if I have to give some of the recent examples, training of women to be employed as last mile delivery personnel. We did a training with more than 200 women who for the first time, in fact, one of the women told me that, the scooter that I have got because of this program is my first asset. So that's the kind of confidence that these programs build in, because we have seen so many men going around in last mile delivery. Women have started entering, and we were the first one to get into their training. So we were and the results were really very inspiring. Similarly, women as cab drivers. So in Indore, we started this program. We have already trained more than 100 women, and who are taking up jobs, who are also providing services as personal drivers to women and men, to professionals, and who have taken up jobs with hotels and for dropping the clients. So and also in heavy commercial vehicles driving program that we have with IDTR, and I was mentioning earlier, the encouraging thing is that we usually used to have a batch of 30 to 35 driver trainees, and it started with single women joining. It is a residential program, and gradually I have noticed that there are now batches of women coming to learn the skills of driving buses. They are being employed by Maharashtra State Road Transport and other state road transports. They are being employed. So somewhere we are trying to mainstream them in the not so conventional programs. In fact, another interesting example that we could do, and we were not sure initially, but then it took up very well, that out of this, when we were doing this cab drivers training, there was also a need of, during the COVID times, the need came for alternate professions. So a group of women proposed that they would like to learn how to maintain two-wheelers. So we established first time in Indore, and perhaps I'm not aware if we have others in India, the first all women managed two-wheeler repairing garage, which is in Indore, and it is doing very well now. Now, what is the impact? I would say one is the employability, that would have, but you know, I am very proud of the fact that we've been able to raise the aspiration levels of the young girls. I remember the times when tailoring, cutting, tailoring, stitching, and beauty parlor courses used to be the options available for girls. But now opening up of such avenues have raised the aspiration, and not only the women. Somebody was asking me if the families are ready. They have apprehensions, but when one girl gets a job as a cab driver, wears a uniform, and is riding an e-rickshaw, then the entire community perception gets changed. And we've seen women now, the families being very, very supportive of their daughters-in-law, taking up jobs as drivers, as mechanics, as a last mile delivery personnel. So very, very satisfying experience that we have witnessed over the last 1.5 years when it comes to bringing women in not so conventional.
Right. And I think the examples which you have quoted, really, they are enlightening. So one thing I can definitely say in this whole session, definitely I can see a few questions, but perhaps we are running short of time, so we will not. I think we will not be in a position to take. I think a lot of things they have already been answered actually. When actually Ranuji has mentioned about the business sustainability, when actually linkage of that with this CSR. If I just sum up actually 2-3 main points. In fact, I have written so many things actually when actually both of you were talking, but I can just sum up few things. One that I think Mr. Raviji very rightly you have mentioned about the compatibility of the skills to the industry needs. So that is what actually the need of the hour is, and that has to be worked upon. And definitely industries can do a lot of things. Second thing actually what you have also talked about, that a concrete long-term progressive strategy, and that must be in alignment or you can say irrespective of any political or economic shifts. So that is something very important. Something what you have talked about, the importance of the reskilling, that is also perhaps very, very important, and that is the need of the hour. And something which has been talked a lot about, the mindset change, and what actually very rightly you have mentioned about the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. So my key learning is that we have to find out actually that which participant or which learner is actually coming with what mindset. So perhaps this is what actually somewhere I was just reading this, that even before starting of a course, there is a counselor who is sitting with the participant and is asking about exploring all those details. And based on his mindset, they are actually only given, this is the actually profession perhaps you should take. So with this actually, we are coming to end of this. I'm really thankful to both the panelists. They have been so nice, actually, the overall time which they have given, and the different, the practical examples which you have shared. Something like this tire care wala, what Raviji has also shared about his the different works being done by the ECF. That has been really phenomenal. So with this, thanks a lot. Mr. Wahid, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. What an enlightening session it has been so far. So many ideas. Thank you. So as the session is moving towards conclusion, I would like to share with the participants that RCPSDC, we have been actively implementing CSR projects for corporate, projects like sponsoring skill development and employability development, creation of center of excellence, sponsoring for facilities and infrastructure development in advanced skilling in vocational institutions, colleges, and universities. So those projects we are promoting, and RSPSDC could be reached out for similar projects. So towards the conclusion, I extend my gratitude to everyone, to one and all present here. The moderator for this session, Mr. Anupam Bajpai, eminent speakers, Mrs. Ranu Kushrestha and Mr. Ravi Naise, and all the participants. It is such an honor for me to get the opportunity to thank you, all dignitaries. On behalf of RCPSDC, I extend my gratitude to all the honorable and eminent panel, moderator, and speakers to take out the time from their busy schedule to grace this event. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us with your words on this special day. I congratulate and thank all the participants for their active participation, who are also the most important stakeholders and the reason of the success of this webinar. Thank you everyone once again for making this a great success. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Wahid, a very special thanks to you and Ms. Deepmala also. And thank you. Thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone. Thanks, Atan. Thank you, Anupam. Thanks, Raviji. Thanks, Wahid.